Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Do you have a message for the at least 4 UCP MLAs who are out of the province during the emergency?
Shame on you. You want to implement your rules on us. You want us to abide by them, but you don't want to follow what you say. Shame on you. Quit. That's why we're out here. We all want you to quit. All of you that went and left, while the rest of us all had to obey to your stupidity.
Hypocrites is what our politicians are. Hypocrites. Hypocrites, you will be judged with the people's court.
Sheila Gunn Reid for Rebel News here in Calgary at Calgary City Hall Plaza. And behind me, a couple hundred people have gathered for the first anti-lockdown protest of 2021. Yes, the worst of 2020 has already followed us into 2021. We're still under heavy restrictions courtesy of the United Conservative government. Now, this is also the first anti-lockdown protest since it has come to light that at least 4 confirmed and named UCP MLAs were out of the country vacationing during the Christmas holidays. We've got Tanya Furr, we've got Jeremy Nixon, Pat Wren, and the Municipal Affairs Minister Tracy Allard. They were all out of the province traveling. Tracy Allard in particular, a cabinet minister, went to Hawaii because it was her family tradition for the last 17 years. Now, we all have important family traditions, but the government told us that if we gathered with our families, we would be facing a $1,200 fine. So these people, these MLAs, they skirted the lockdown on a technicality and met with their own families out of the country. Tanya Furr gave that as her excuse for leaving the country. She went to Las Vegas to visit with her sister. Well, I know a lot of us would have liked to have visited our siblings here in Alberta, but that was illegal, courtesy of Tanya Furr's own government. And as for these folks behind me, I'm going to head into the crowd and ask them what they think of UCP MLAs skirting the lockdown on a technicality while the Calgary City Police, week after week, issue $1,200 fines to protesters here. And right now, actually on the stage, we've got Pastor Tobias from Manitoba. He has come into Alberta to bring the message of freedom. Let's go talk to the crowd. Do you have a message for the Conservative MLAs who are out of the province during the pandemic while the rest of us were locked down?
My message wouldn't be something I'd want to record. It was said by Kenny that they weren't clear of what the restrictions were, but obviously they were clear what the restrictions were.
They're clear enough with the rest of us.
That's for sure, aren't they? Yeah. No.
What should happen to them?
I think they should resign. I think they should be let go. Absolutely.
You've got a no mask ticket.
Another badge of honor. Yeah, I got one last week for $1,200, and this time it's for $100 for not wearing a face covering.
Do you have a message for those politicians? At least 4 of them were out of the province during the lockdown. You got a message for those locker downer hypocrites?
Well, you got to give some credit to Ford for doing the right thing, but then you have Kenny, who supports her. She should be gone down the road, immediately.
Freedom!
Stop the surveillance!
Do you have a message for those politicians who were out of the country during the emergency pandemic lockdown?
I might be the wrong person to ask because Trudeau should have locked the government down to airline, or locked the country down to airline travel. It's not Kenny's fault to punish these ministers for doing this. They did it. It's not against the law to fly. He just said it was not advisable to hang out with your family. Right. But you could fly anywhere. So if I had the money, I'd fly too.
Now, what about, for example, Tanya Furr? She went to Las Vegas to have Christmas with her sister, but it was illegal to have Christmas with your sister here.
Yeah, I'm touchy on that one. I'm 100% against them going anywhere. If they're going to give us rules, they should follow by them. You can't do as we say and not as we do, you know? But that's why we're all down here, and our numbers are growing, but the media doesn't tell that. So as you can see, if you go down to 9th Ave, they're blocking the road for us so that traffic doesn't see our message getting out there.
Do you know what I love? We just had two conservatives with two different takes on the same issue, and it's fun.
I honestly don't condone what they did. I think they should be smarter than that, but you can't really punish them for it.
They found a clause in there, and they're just like the exemption rule. That's a clause that everybody can deal with, but everybody doesn't want to do it. They just want to put on a mask and, I'm saving lives. Well, have fun with Bell palsy and vertigo and many other things that you might get.
I want to ask you, do you have a message for the politicians who are out of the province during the lockdown while families and businesses are being completely decimated?
Yeah, just very simply, it's going to come back on you big time. And we've put our trust in you as the public. We've elected you into office, regrettably. But it just seems obvious to me that when you do slimy things like that, you're going to get it. It's coming your way. While people like us are out of work, I've been out of work for a month now, and due to some of the lockdown measures, and it's just not fair. So it's going to come around. What goes around comes around.
Yeah, I do have a message for them. You are not more equal than all of us. It's unbelievable, your hypocrisy and your ability to lie and then all of a sudden make an apology, not because you actually feel bad, but because you got caught. It's disgusting. And you will be replaced. You work for us. And you're about to find that out.
Oh, I don't even know if I got words, but it's just time to go. Like, continue to do these things to show us that you're not trustworthy, you're not responsible, we don't need you. Literally, go home, bye. We'll take care of it. That's what we're out here doing. And we got people who want to run for office. We got people who actually want to change the system. We got people out here who want to write a constitution. We don't need elected corrupt officials. We don't need criminals. We don't. So grab your stuff and go.
Well, let's just say I think they should probably come home and maybe resign. That's all I have to say.
Shame on you. You want to implement your rules on us. You want us to abide by them, but you don't want to follow what you say. Shame on you. Quit. That's why we're out here. We all want you to quit. All of you that went and left, while the rest of us all had to obey to your stupidity.
Hypocrites is what our politicians are. Hypocrites. Hypocrites, you will be judged with the people's court.
I think it's absolutely disgusting, and it's not surprising because we know where this is headed. And I think that they should be, it's shameful. They should be ashamed of themselves. They should be stepping down, personally.
Must be nice to still earn a paycheck, a regular paycheck. You guys are pathetic and disgusting. And that's it. That's all I have.
Well, I don't begrudge them for spending Christmas with their families, but it's just so wrong that we're told we're going to be fined, that the police are going to be looking out for us if we get together with even one other person outside of our home. So yeah, it's really ridiculous. It's upsetting.
Kim, you just got a $1,200 fine for doing a completely normal thing, but there were at least 4 UCP MLAs out of the province during the Christmas holidays. What do you think about that?
Well, it's a different set of rules, I think. Different set of rules for us and them.
What should happen to them?
I'm not one to lay judgment. I think that their conscience should be their guide. I think they should step down if they're not representing us appropriately.
Pastor Tobias, you're in Alberta. Why?
I'm here. I had to come out here for some business, and I was like, I want to join my people while I'm here.
Now, what if you get a ticket in Alberta?
I don't know how that would work. I mean, I got a number of them at home, but we'll figure it out when we get one. It won't deter me, that's for sure.
Do you have a message for other pastors about what they should do during the lockdown?
Sure. So I would tell other pastors, other church leaders, what do you honor more? Do you honor your governors or do you honor God? At the judgment day, when we're all going to stand before God, we're going to answer to God. We're not going to answer to Justin Trudeau. We're going to answer to our God, whether we have obeyed his command in gathering together to worship or not.
Do you have a message for Jason Kenney? Because it's strange that he's wasting all this political goodwill on these hypocrites.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems to be the common message for all of them. We don't need you. Everything is a false promise or a false statement, or we're going to come stand behind you and get you back to work. We're going to make sure you can pay your bills, you can feed your kids. No, you're not. You're just another crock of shit, and we don't need it. As for the elected, and I say that very strongly, officials, enjoy your last little bit in office, because I can't see this going anywhere, especially with the way that you all continue to act and the things you impose on us or try to suppress us from doing. It's only going to get more and more and more and more and more until you have the entire city out here, and then the entire province, and then the entire country.
So you received a ticket last week, a $1,200 ticket?
Yes, it was a $1,200 ticket. I was just talking to one of the gentlemen there, and then we were talking about how bad the communism is. One of the cops was trying to trick me because she told me, like, if I show her my ID, then she could listen to what I explained to her. I just showed them my ID, and then she took my ID right away and wrote me the ticket. I was so confused. I didn't know what happened.
Now, that video you just watched was filmed in Calgary on Saturday, and things have changed substantially since then. The ending I had planned for this video had to be scrapped because I've got a victory to tell you about. I'm back here at my home base in northern Alberta, and Premier Jason Kenney has not only fired the Maui MLA Tracy Allard from her ministerial portfolio in municipal affairs, but Kenney's also fired his own chief of staff, Jamie Huckabee, for traveling outside of the country for non-essential reasons, while the Alberta government had advised the rest of us to cancel all of our non-essential travel plans. Premier Kenney, after intense pressure from us here at Rebel News and from you at home, has also stripped Pat Wren, Tanny Yao, Jeremy Nixon, and Tanya Furr of any extra responsibilities they had within the government, because they left the country too. Now, I want to thank all of you at home who signed our petition at fireallard.com for helping us put that pressure on Premier Jason Kenney and causing Kenney to do the right thing. But there's even more to tell you about. Saskatchewan MLA Joe Hargrave, he's the MLA for Prince Albert, well, he also traveled to Palm Springs during his province's strict lockdown. He said he went there to wrap up a real estate deal over Christmas. Sure. Okay, now this is particularly egregious because I'm helping a church in Prince Albert, the Full Gospel Outreach Center, fight a $14,000 coronavirus fine. They got a $14,000 fine for singing without masks on, while this MLA for Prince Albert broke the spirit of the pandemic lockdown law by traveling to Palm Springs for Christmas to wrap up a real estate deal. Now, if you'd like to help that church, you can go to fightthefines.com. But I want to tell you that Joe Hargrave knew what was good for him, because we've been running a petition against him. Today, he resigned as the Minister of Highways before we had to release the lawn signs and the billboard trucks to force him to resign. So well done, rebels. You've just proven to the world that you are also willing to hold conservatives to account when they break the rules they impose on the rest of us. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. You'd like to help that church I told you about, the Full Gospel Outreach Center in Prince Albert, fight their $14,000 fine that they received for singing without masks on. Please go to fightthefines.com to help cover their legal costs. And if you are someone who has also received a fine for doing something that was completely normal 10 months ago, submit that fine to us at fightthefines.com. I don't want you to pay the ticket. We're going to fight it. Plead not guilty. Send me your ticket at fightthefines.com.